Welcome to our Sunday call, guys. Efrosini here. Let me just show. There you go. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We've got 10 days left until we finish the first month of 2025. Can you believe it? Time is already flying. How are you, my friends? Good to see you. Hi, Helen. Hi, Janet, Lydia, Nathan, Pernilla, Elvira, Roland,
Hi,
Christian.
Afrosi.
How are you, champions?
Fine, thanks.
All right. So, guys, I'm going to get straight into it today. As you probably, if you tune into the presentation, had to turn off my video camera a few times because everything's blocked. My nose is blocked. My ears are blocked. It's not a fun time right now. But, we always find a way to make things happen. And before I get into tonight's training session, I wanted to actually take a moment and give some recognition, like shout out to some people because December was amazing. December, we had a lot of people pop ranks. It was a great start to the first month of Viago. And we had, and if I missed anybody, I apologize. Excuse me. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 new bronzes in the month of December. Congratulations to Tapiwa for hitting bronze. Congratulations to Edith for achieving bronze. Congratulations to Dr. Lucy for achieving bronze. And last but not least, I want to say congratulations to Sylvia, also from Hungary/Romania, for achieving bronze. Guys, the people that I mentioned, if you haven't recognized them, if you haven't messaged them, firstly, show some love on the chat for them. If you know them personally and you haven't congratulated them when we finish the webinar, give them a call, drop them a message, send them a voice note. Now, I don't care whether they're in your team or not. We're one team. We're one team united towards a common goal, and that is shifting people's lives, upgrading people's lifestyle from every single way. And recognition is everything in our business, guys. So, always recognize people, even if, let's say, that you got a banner or whatever, and you've got your own team groups, recognize them in your team groups as well. One thing that I learned from my mentor, bad news goes upline, good news goes everywhere. Okay? So bad news goes upline, challenges, problems. If you've ever got any challenges in your business, and let's face it, if you don't have challenges in your business, it means you're not building a business. You're gonna have challenges. It's part of the game, all right? It's part of growth. But whenever you got a challenge, you always gotta go upline. Upline is where we address the issues, because upline is where we can get support in order to resolve the issues. But when you go good news, recognition, promotions, you want to tell that to the world. That news goes everywhere. Bomba? Okay. So congratulations to our new bronzes. I also want to say congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Mushambi for achieving silver. Guys, Mr. and Mrs. Mushambi, man, I'm so proud of you guys. Mr. Mushambi never misses a presentation. He's always consistent at every single presentation, every single training, always happy to serve, always happy to share his story. And I also, one thing that I love about this couple is that no excuses either. Like no matter what, always the first ones to arrive. So Mr. and Mrs. Mushambi, congratulations. I know silver is just the beginning for you guys. I also want to give a huge congratulations to Marvelous. She definitely suits this name. Marvelous is based out of the UK. She's all I can tell you about this lady is that when she's going to be on stage and sharing her story and you get to hear it, it's going to make your hair stand on end. This lady is a true testament to having a winning mindset, that no matter what she's going through, and believe me, she's had an amazing roller coaster in life, she always finds a way to persevere. She always finds a way to make things happen. But as much as this is deserved by her, we also know that achieving 25 squared, which is gold, it's also a team effort. The first few ranks, guys, you can get to them with numbers, but the higher up the ranks you go, the more it's about leadership and less about the numbers. And that's why we're going to talk about leadership tonight. And because we're on the topic of leadership, I also want to take a moment, and I'm going to open up the microphone for this lady, because this lady is truly very, very special. This lady is a servant leader. I speak to her sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, her time, 4 o'clock in the morning. She doesn't sleep. She works around the clock to help her team. She's got teams in many countries. She's already built a team of close to 200 people since she got started with us in October. And I know that as great as a start this is, this team is going to grow to thousands and later on tens of thousands because of this amazing lady's leadership. This lady has just achieved Sapphire. Now, Sapphire, so you know, guys, means you're making $1,000 a month residually every single month. And you also start getting the Sapphire bonus. So Sapphire bonus means for every new enrollment in your tree, if you're the next Sapphire, you make between $25 to $50 bonus for every new enrollment in your organization. And believe me, that can get to very exciting income. So congratulations for achieving Sapphire, my dear Helen Mandishona. Would love for you to just share a few words on your journey to Sapphire.
Thank you very much, Efrosini. Really, your leadership has really helped for me to get to this rank, and also the team. And we also had a training with Matt Morris, which also helped. One thing I've noticed in this business is teamwork. If we can all work, it's doable. Any rank really is doable. First, to get 2 to be qualified, then 6. And if you have 2 and 6, then it's easy to get to bronze. So yeah, December was challenging with the move to the new system, but the support from corporate, I mean, I was saying to Efrosini, I'm sure Ed Head was scared of opening WhatsApp messages because we were sending him a lot of messages, and corporate was working day and night. So thank you for the support. And even when you were on holiday, you were attending to all the issues that we raised. Thanks for your leadership.
My pleasure, my dear Helen. And congratulations once again. I can't wait to see you very, very soon at the next rank. Guys, I feel amazing about 2025. It's we started off the year very powerfully, And like Helen said, you know, in December, we had a lot of challenges. You know, transitioning is not easy. Transitioning can be challenging. Changes are challenging. But, you know, this is one of the reasons tonight I wanted to cover on the different types of leadership in network marketing when it comes to dealing with challenges. Because one of the things that I remember, excuse me, one of the things I remember a few years ago when I was going through a lot of challenges in my business, and I mean a lot of challenges. And I remember calling Matt Morris, who's been one of my biggest mentors for the last 16 years. At the beginning, from a distance, and over the years, we grew closer and closer and closer, and now he's practically family. And now we're really, really working back to back with Viago, and I'm excited for this. And one of the things I remember when I was actually standing in a car park outside a presentation that we were doing. And I had a room full of people. This is going back in 2020. I had a room full of people, and it was like lockdown was beginning to start in a few countries. There was a lot of uncertainty in the air. The business had started to drop. There was challenges. And I was about to go into a room full of people to inspire them, to motivate them, to speak to them. And I felt my energy had dropped. And I called Matt and I said, man, like, I know that you said becoming a millionaire is tough, I said to him, but does it have to be this hard? And his response was, the hard is what pays us the money. He goes, the harder it is, the more money you make. The easier it is, the less money you make. I want to say that one more time because this is key. The harder it is, the more money you make. Leadership, guys, is about the ability of being able to handle a lot of challenges, because the better a problem solver you become, the stronger the leader that you're going to become. Now, there is a right way and a wrong way to also be a problem solver. And this is what I want to speak to you guys about. This is this is a little bit advanced leadership. So if you're brand new to this, I know some of it may go over your head, and that's okay. Take notes and mark my words. If you're brand new right now, then maybe 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, maybe a year or two down the track, you're going to look at some of these notes and go, I wasn't ready for that message then, but now I understand the message. Okay? How you solve the problems determines whether you create a team of followers or whether you create a team of leaders. How you empower people determines whether you get a team that is constantly rising or whether you get a team that is constantly falling back. And there's different categories. And I'm going to go through this with you guys. And there's traits to each of these categories. And I want to give you guys some examples, but I'm also going to tell you some of the shortfalls of these categories. Okay? So category number one, and I want you guys to take some notes on this one, because it took me a little while to learn this. But when I learned and I realized which style I was, then I learned how to make the transition to the right kind of style so I can develop a team of leaders and not followers. So these categories comes down to how, like, what kind of approach do you take when you're solving problems? And when I'm describing these, I want you to like pay attention and actually ask yourself the question, which one do I connect with the most? Which style do I normally go into? Okay. So The first one is the analytical problem solver. Now, the analytical problem solver is a person that literally just looks at the facts and the figures. They look at the sales, they look at the numbers. They go, my business is not growing. Let me look at the numbers, okay? How many presentations? How many closings? How many invitations were done? And this analytical problem solver tends to kind of go through and overanalyze why there's a certain problem in their business, whether the business is not growing, maybe the business is shrinking, maybe there's different types of challenges in the team, maybe there's politics in the team, okay? Politics is like you get these little cliques sometimes in teams. And, you know, this is why I said earlier, I said, I don't care what team you're on, okay? We're one team. We're one team, whether you're from Africa, whether you're from Asia, whether you're from Oceania, whether you're from Europe, it doesn't matter. We're one team, okay? We're one team united. Now, sometimes I see people that create these micro teams within teams, and it kind of breaks up the team. And then you get people that sometimes if they're a certain personality type, right? And they like to have a little bit of control, they like to break away from some of the culture of the team. Now, one thing I can say to you from experience is the bigger the team, the better the energy. The bigger the team, the better the energy. Because if, let's say, you got your little small team of 20, 30 people, for example, every single team and every single business is going to go through the roller coaster. You're always going to go through a phase of momentum, and there's always going to be a phase of a plateau in your business. And then there's going to be a phase sometimes where maybe the business drops a little bit as well. And then a phase of momentum again. All businesses will go through these phases. You can't stop it. You don't want to stop it. You want to learn from it. When you go through momentum, you want to ride the wave. When you go through a plateau, you need to get back to the basics so you can break through that plateau. If you're in a plateau for too long, what happens is that the plateau starts going backwards, okay? And it's so much harder to shift the energy this way rather than if it's up to go further up. You guys with me? Okay. Now, the analytical person, it's good to have some level of analytics in your team. It's good to track your numbers. Absolutely. You know, it's one of the things that I always say to people. If they tell me their business is not growing, I ask them, tell me your activity in the last 90 days. You always write this down. You're 90 days away from your results. You're 90 days away from your results. What you do today will reflect in your back office in 90 days. There's always a lag time between your activity and your results. You know, I think the best analogy I've ever heard, and I always use it, is the farmer. When the farmer is planting the seeds, he doesn't expect to harvest overnight. He knows that planting the seeds still needs to go through the 4 seasons. He's planting the seeds, he's watering the seeds, he's putting fertilizer on the seeds, he's given them some love, they need some sunshine, okay, until they sprout in the spring and in the summer, right? No matter how much fertilizer you put on a seed, you can't accelerate the seed from growing into a little seed into a tree straight away. You also need to give it some time, right? So the analytical person is very good at looking at numbers, and it's important to have an element of that. Here's the challenge sometimes with the analytical personalities as a leader. Overanalysis leads to paralysis. Overanalysis leads to paralysis. Some people are spending so long analyzing the numbers, they get paralyzed by the numbers. The other thing is as well, is that sometimes if we're too focused on being analytic, you know what we forget? Empathy. As humans, we connect through emotions. We're emotional beings a lot more than logical beings. Even when we make decisions with emotions, we justify it with logic. So the analytical personality, this is one of the challenges sometimes, is that they spend so long looking at the numbers, trying to take every single problem and quantify it, when sometimes the problem is not a numbers, it's not an analytical problem, it could be an emotional problem, okay? And this basically takes me to the next type of problem solver, which is the opposite, which is the empathetic problem solver, right? Now, the traits of the empathetic problem solver is that they're compassionate. They understand when people are basically going through certain emotions, especially in network marketing, guys. You know, in network marketing, we've got the emotional roller coaster. You know, you got to get the people that as soon as someone joins, oh my God, they joined, I'm so excited, they joined my team and the emotions are there. And then it's like, you know, someone quits from the team. Oh my God, I can't believe they quit. They told me they wanted to retire their mom, but they told me they wanted to fire their boss. I don't understand why they quit. And then the emotions goes from here to here. Now, the analytical problem solver might turn around and say, well, I can't quantify emotions, therefore I'm disconnected. The empathetic problem solver in that case, because they're emotionally intelligent, they try a lot to understand the emotional and relational aspects of the problem. However, sometimes they get too involved in the emotion side of it and they're not pragmatic with the solutions. So, you know, if their team is down emotionally, they're down emotionally with them. If their team is up emotionally, they're also up. The challenge with that, though, is that if your environment is influencing you, then you're not leading them, you're being led by them. And a leader doesn't get affected by their environment, they affect their environment. Excuse me 1 second, guys, I'm sorry. All right, apologize about that. What can I do? Got a cold, we'll get through it. So the thing is, being an empathetic leader is great. And, you know, it has its place and it is important. But at the same time, you don't want to be so involved in the emotions of the team that you almost get absorbed by the challenges of the team. I'll give you an example. We had this situation quite a little while ago with basically some conflicts within our organization. And we had this one particular leader that, my goodness, if there was a problem in her team, she would call, she would cry, she would scream, she would yell. And the challenge with that is that if you go, I love dogs, but if you ever seen a little chihuahua, you know, the little chihuahuas sometimes, where they bark so much that you get to the point that because they're constantly barking, your ear tunes them out and you don't pay attention to them. Okay? At the same time, when they're barking so much, you're instantly thinking, God, that's so annoying. As opposed to maybe, you know, the person in the team that very rarely do they raise their voice, do they get angry, do they get emotional. whenever they're basically coming to speak to you. And we're all going to have these people in our team, by the way, guys. It takes all types of people in the team to make a team. Whenever this person comes and speaks to you, they're cool, they're calm, and they're collected. Whatever problem they're dealing with, they're always looking at the problem going, okay, you know, I'm not going to get upset about it. I do want to feel what my team is feeling, but I want to help them through it, and they're focusing on the solutions, not the problem. Now, if this person gets upset, you're going to pay even more attention because this person is normally cool, calm, and collected, right? If someone is on the extreme of the empathetic, they're the ones that are going to get so emotional sometimes when they're calling you that naturally as a leader, you don't want to give them any attention because nobody wants to keep tending to the screaming baby if the baby is screaming 24/7. Does this make sense? Okay. You don't want to be the screaming baby. And I'm saying this as well, by the way, because this is not just in terms of leading your team. This is also how you communicate with head office. When you're calling head office, what kind of person do you want to be representing your team? Do you want to be the person that every single time you call head office, people look at it go, oh my God, I can't believe they're calling me again. You deal with it. No, you deal with it. Right? Or do you want to be the person that when you call head office, they go, oh, they're always such a pleasure to deal with. And they always go out of their way to help you because you're that person that you're a pleasure for them to deal with because you're a problem solver. And you always go to them if you've exhausted all other solutions. And that's the last resort. And when you communicate with them, you make it a pleasure for them to work with you. What category do you want to fall into? Now, by the way, all the categories I'm going to share today, we all have an element of each of these. If you've ever done the personality types, the 4 colors, red, blue, yellow, and green, right? If you've ever done that, all of us have every single one of the colors. It's just what is more dominant, right? Now, if you've never done the colors, no problem. We're probably going to cover it in a training at some point as well. It's the 4 different types of communication, understanding the personality types that drive people, and we put them in 4 categories. The red personalities, you know, aggressive, dominant, leadership, you know, charges hard. Of course, the opposite of that is the yellow, which is more soft, gentle, speaks in low tones, is more about helping people rather than being challenge driven. And then you got the blue and the green. The blue is all about the fun, living in the moment, doesn't focus on the details, doesn't think about tomorrow, thinks about today, right now. And then you got the green, which is a complete opposite, highly analytical. It's all about the details. The greens tend to be more calculated. So if we look at the different types of problem solvers, the green is probably also the analytical problem solver. The blue is out there doing it. The green is still analyzing the charts. Okay. So there is some correlation between these, but the main thing is to understand that the way that you communicate with different personality types is also the way that you also may be problem solving. And therefore, when you understand the way that you solve problems, you understand what are the disadvantages to the way that you're solving problems and how can you shift between the different styles to empower yourself and empower your team. So in terms of the empathetic leader, that's the complete opposite, which you could say the empathetic problem solver could also be the high yellow, which is all about the relationships, the emotions, all about how people feel. Let me challenge you a little bit. Do you believe feelings are real? Do you believe feelings are real? Who believes yes? Who believes no? What creates feelings? Tell me what you believe creates feelings. Some of you are confused. Yeah, emotions or feelings, Aaron, absolutely. But we're going to go a little bit further back, okay? What creates the feeling? The first thing that creates a feeling is a thought. What if I tell you feelings are not real? We make them up. Let me give you an example, okay? Can you be sad and happy at the same time? Have you ever had a situation where you were so upset about something that you were crying, really, really upset, and then with the split of a second, something happened and you just started laughing? Have you ever experienced that? Okay. Right? We've all experienced it. That split of a second, what happened? Our thought went to a different direction. And because the thought went to a different direction, it created a different feeling. All right. Now, when you understand this, there's a really powerful book called As a Man Thinketh. Okay. You guys might have actually heard the saying, what you think about is what you become. What you focus on expands. If we focus on positive things, we get more positive things in our life. If we focus on negative things, we get more negative things in our life. Correct? Okay. So if, let's say, we have a challenge, let's say, I'll give you an example, right? I was in Tahiti for a wedding a few years ago, and the craziest thing happened. I went to check in online, and as I went to check in online, on the screen, it said, check-in is closed. And I'm like, I'm trying to check in 4 hours before my flight, right? I'm like, what do you mean check-in is closed, right? And I'm like, okay, that can't be right. I'm checking, all the details. I call the airport. I'm like, look, I'm trying to check in online. It doesn't let me. It says check-in is closed. I don't understand. They're like, ma'am, that flight was yesterday. I missed my flight by 24 hours. Now, I'm in Tahiti and I need to get to London. And I had a flight booked from Tahiti to San Francisco, staying overnight in San Francisco, and going to London. And I'm like, I am mad. How did I get it wrong 24 hours late? How is this possible? And then I think, oh my God, I have insurance. Okay, I'm going to call my insurance. Finally, I get to actually use my insurance. So I call my insurance broker and I'm like, listen, I've missed my flight. I need you to basically cover for me to catch a brand new flight. And they're like, okay, ma'am, no worries. Be happy to help. Why did you miss your flight? Well, I didn't realize the flight was yesterday instead of today. Long pause. So, I need a new flight and I need you guys to sort it out. They're like, ma'am, we can't help you with that. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't help me with that? Like, I'm angry. I am so upset. And by the way, when emotions are high, logic is low, okay? Whenever we're emotional, we don't think clearly. Right? So this is really, really key. If you're a highly empathetic leader and you're working in the emotions, when you feel really, really emotional, understand that logic is lower And sometimes it's good to do something logical to go back into the logical state. You guys with me? Okay. I was highly, highly emotional. So I'm not proud of this, by the way. So I said, why the hell am I paying you guys? This is what's wrong with you insurance people. You charge people all this money for insurance. And when someone needs you, you know, they call you up and you don't even help them. His response, bless him, cool, calm, and collected tone. Ma'am, we just expect that our clients will actually arrive at the airport on the correct date. Like, it's like, I mean, I honestly, I hang up the phone. I am so mad. And I sat outside in the balcony and I'm overlooking this beautiful view because we're staying in a 5-star hotel in Tahiti. And I start laughing. Like I literally just lost it laughing. And I said to myself, you idiot. Like you just abused that insurance guy who basically told you you're an idiot for turning 24 hours late. We can't insure people for being idiots. We insure people for legitimate reasons of not showing up to the airport. And of course, after I started laughing a little bit, I also realized, why am I complaining? I'm stuck in paradise. You know, Tahiti's like Bora Bora. It was absolutely gorgeous. And even though it cost me a few more $1,000 to get home on that flight, I got to spend an extra 3 days in Tahiti. You know, and the thing is, I'm sharing this story with you guys because at that time of emotion, I couldn't think clearly, right? And once I shifted my thought from being, it's not fair, I can't believe I lost my flight, this is crazy, how much is it going to cost me? Those thoughts were not serving me, correct? I changed my thought to, why am I here? What's the reason I missed my flight? Why am I here? Is there an advantage to me being here? And I went from being upset to being grateful. Now, were all emotions real? Yes, emotions always feel real. When you're happy, you feel it. When you're sad, you feel it. But when you learn that by redirecting your thoughts, you can change your emotions just like that. You guys with me? Okay? Literally, try it. That next time you're upset about something, and next time you're about to, I don't know, maybe your son or your daughter did something to upset you, and you're about to yell at them, maybe next time just take 1 or 2 seconds and go, okay, what thought is going to serve me better? Change the focus of your thought and see how the emotions will change. And all of a sudden you will react in a completely different way in that scenario than what you would have done a few seconds earlier. You guys with me? Okay. Now this might help with your teams as well, by the way. Like if one of your team members, and I learned this from one of my mentors, Mark Aceda. Let's say sometimes your team member calls you up and they're going, oh my God, you know, I went to a presentation and this particular leader did this and this and this wrong. You know, they didn't say hi to me. They ignored me. They did, and they spent 5 minutes talking bad about someone in a very, very unprofessional manner. Okay. Now, the thing is, my mentor always said to me, there's always 3 versions to the truth. There's 2 sides, and somewhere in the middle is the truth, he said. So if someone says something about someone, you're going to go and get the other side to figure out where the truth is somewhere in the middle. Now, unfortunately, though, sometimes we get so involved on the emotions that we go, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. And we're agreeing with them. Now, is it fair to say that every single person, we see things through our own lens? Don't we? Don't we all have lenses that we wear? And the lenses help us in order to reach a conclusion based on our past experiences, okay, of how we interpret a situation that happens. Let me give you an example, right? You see a gentleman and a lady walking towards the hotel exit. Gentleman goes in front of the lady. He opens the door for her. Now, that action could be like politely opening the door. He's being a gentleman, right? You get one lady that thinks, oh my God, what a gentleman. They don't make them like this anymore, right? How sweet, he opened the door for me. Right? Okay. You get another lady that goes, what, you think I can't open my own door? Correct? Could one person do exactly the same thing, get two totally different results? Because maybe one lady is like, what, you're insulting me by opening the door for me? I can't open it. I don't need you. And another lady thinks, that was very sweet. He opened the door for me. Are you guys with me? Same scenario, same intention, completely different interpretation. Do you guys see that? Okay. I'm saying this to you because as you grow in leadership, guys, and as your team grows, sometimes you're going to need to take a step back when you get involved in different challenges. You're going to need to take a step back and reflect on things before you react on things. Okay. And sometimes that's a split second, but that split second can make such a difference in order to get a better outcome. Excuse me. So on that note, I'm going to take you to the third type of leadership, the third type of problem solver, which is the visionary. The visionary problem solver is a person that is a big picture thinker. They don't sit there and focus on the problem at hand, but they see further ahead. They see the big picture and they're very good at diverting the focus from focusing on here to focusing further. And one of the things that I've learned is that the bigger your vision is, the bigger the obstacles you can handle. For example, if your vision in Viago is only to make $500 a month, your level of resilience to challenges is going to be much smaller than someone that wants to make $10,000 a month. The person that wants to make $10,000 a month usually has a lot of different reasons why they want to make $10,000 a month. And because they've got a big vision, they also understand that it's going to take a big level of resilience in order to achieve that. If someone comes into Viago and all they want is just to go on a couple of trips, then a small challenge of, I couldn't book that trip that I wanted, I quit, is going to be enough for them sometimes. Because they're not that emotionally involved. But if someone comes into Viago and they're like, you know what, I'm going to give it everything that I've got, because I want to get to the point where I make $10,000 a month in this business. I can leave my job. I can help my husband, my wife. I can help my parents. And they have so many different reasons that they're building something that no obstacle is big enough. Do you see what I mean? So a visionary leader, a visionary problem solver, when their team is basically struggling with duplication or retention or something like that, they will think of bigger ways to expand the vision of the team rather than focusing on the problem itself. Always thinking outside the box. And I want to take you guys to the last one, which is, well, it's my favorite, which is the coach/mentor problem solver. See, this type of leader, this type of problem solver is the person that doesn't help someone to solve the problem. They don't give them the solution. An empathetic leader or an empathetic problem solver, they're the ones that are the most tempted to fix everything for their team. Okay, that's what an empathetic leader does. Okay, so thank you, Mola. So that's what an empathetic leader does, right? I realize I've got another call. Imola and Anika, my apologies. I just realized the time. If you can message everybody that we'll wrap up in 5 minutes and then we'll go into the next call, I would really appreciate it. My apologies. Got overexcited on this one. So the empathetic leader is the one that is basically going to be more conscious of just wanting to fix everything for their team, wanting to make it better for their team. But the coach and the mentor is the person that when they get a phone call from their team going, I have this challenge, instead of saying, here's how you can solve it, the coach and the mentor is the person that's going to basically ask them the right questions to empower them to find the solution. Hey, I'm just curious. Did you try reaching out to this department? Hey, have you checked in your back office? There's a section here. So instead of giving the solution, they're just simply steering them in the right direction so they can find the solutions. Now, I'm going to tell you from experience, guys, it's very difficult to do this. It is difficult to do this. Naturally, as people, we like to feel needed, because when we're needed, we feel important, we feel connected, and we want to help. So when someone from your team calls you and they go, Lydia, I need your help on this, your natural tendency is, yes, let me help you. But when you take a step back and go, hey, in my mind, let me help you by empowering you to find the solution. It's a different kind of approach. So I remember when my mentor, like sometimes I used to call him and I'd be like, hey, can you help me with this and this challenge? And he was like, oh, I'm not quite sure. Have you thought of checking this out? He never gave me the solution. He always used to guide me in the direction for me to go find the solution. Now, what did that do? At the beginning, I was really upset with him. I'm like, man, I know he knows the answer. I know he has the answers. Why is he being difficult? Why is he just not giving me the answers? And one time I remember calling him and he did the same thing. And I said, why are you doing this to me? You could just literally tell me the solution. And he said, Efrosini, he goes, if I keep giving you the solutions to your problems, you know what's going to happen? You're always going to keep calling me with problems. And I don't want a team of people coming to me with problems. I want a team of leaders. And to be a leader, I want to empower you to become a problem solver. Now, I was a little bit annoyed, I got to admit, at the time, because I just wanted the answer to my question. Okay. But in the end, what it did is that it pushed me to do the same thing with my team. So many times, and I know a bunch of you guys probably thinking, oh my God, she did that to me. Sometimes call me and they go, hey, this and this challenge. And I go, okay, have you thought about this? And I'll point them towards a certain direction. And I do that because the thing is, guys, in order to build a really, really big team, we need to build a team of leaders. If you don't build a team of leaders, you're going to have yourself a job. And we didn't sign up to Viago to have a job. We signed up to Viago for freedom. Didn't we? Freedom. Empowerment. When you teach people how to become leaders, you have freedom. When you have freedom, you go to the beach. You go on holidays and your business grows. Now, if you go on holidays, if your team doesn't go anywhere without you, then you got followers. And it's good for someone to be a follower sometimes, because a good leader needs to be a good follower first. They just need to be following the right person. But sometimes you got to be able to get your foot out of the way to push people to walk in your footsteps. And sometimes you need to give them that nudge to do it. A lot of people lack the confidence to do it. They're almost looking for permission to do it. So you just got to literally pull your foot out of the way and go, hey, listen, you got this. Off you go. Okay. I get excited when I see initiative in the team. I get excited when people step up and they're like, hey, I want to go do a training for the team. Can you mind just jumping on for a few minutes, but I'll take care of the rest. I get excited when I see that, right? Because it shows me that people want to step up and lead. But some people need permission almost to do it. Not from, it's not like you have to give them permission, but psychologically in their mind, they think they need permission. And our job as leaders is to help them to understand and believe that they have what it takes to go out and do it. And the only way that we can do that is that, all these categories that I shared with you guys, I'm not telling you one is better than the other. I'm telling you all of them have their flaws. The right thing to do is be able to get almost an overview of all of these and be adaptable. So that way, at times when you need to, you can empathize with your team, but at the same time, be analytical enough with the solutions and also empower them by being a mentor to teach them to find the right solutions. Is this making sense? Okay, now I know I went a little bit over. Guys, one big announcement. We're going to have an all ambassador call in the next few days to go through all the details. But yesterday at Playbook, Eddie had made a huge announcement. The cycle bonus, okay? The cycle bonus normally is 5 points on the left, 5 points on the right, you cycle. And right now we have a double cycle promotion of $100. Normally it's $50 a cycle. In order to get the 5 points, the launch pack, which is $450, is 2 points. The standard pack, which is $250, is 1 point. All right. So normally you need 5 points on the left, 5 points on the right. Now it's a promotion up until the end of February. The company just announced that you only need 4 points on each side to cycle. Okay. That means it's 20% even easier to cycle. Some of you just got a cycle bonus and you don't even realize it. Go into your back office, okay? Check it out. Up until the end of February, make the most of it. That means 2 launch packs on the left, 2 launch packs on the right, cycle. 4 standard packs on the left, 4 standard packs on the right, cycle. Double cycles right now at $100 a pop. There's money to be made. We've also got the triple pay this month as well. Make the most of it. 12 days left until the end of the year. Presentations every single night of this week. Have an amazing night, guys. I'm going to post the recording in the next 24 hours. Thank you for tuning in.